Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Um, yeah, Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. Yep, mine's because someone probably, and yep, it's been a while. I'm back. This is the second time I've been there for a long time, only for a year, or like 2.5 years. So, yes, I'm finally returned. Been a while, and anyways, so what is up, everybody? Yeah, you actually might be wondering about my reasons, and I get what you're actually trying to say. Something like if you guys were saying like, Makai, why you left? Why you left on YouTube again? I might unsubscribe you. What's the reason why I actually left again? Yeah, so here we go again with this. So everybody, if you might be wondering about the reasons, about why I actually have to say this to all you guys, because you might be wondering why I left again. Um, I keep having some issues that's going on for 2021, like, since ever about what happened from that Delta 19 virus thing, whatever the shit. So and also, I keep having about some issues that's going on from 2021 because I was kind of busy doing a lot from school, and I was actually trying to notice about anything because yeah, um, I actually noticed about it a lot when I was doing something really busy from school, and I was kind of busy when I to my summer job program, which is the Jai Market District that I used to work, and even on one time I know it's just something about how I've been there for 2 months. And even when I was actually became a senior in Central Costin, um I've been to the school for it when I was kind of busy doing some schoolwork I had to do, and even though I noticed about anything about that at one time since I was kind of busy doing my work, and yeah, it's kind of something about what's going on to my life. And also, I was kind of busy when they're doing my Instagram work because if you guys are literally interested about it, if you guys are on Instagram, follow me on it. You might see me because if you might tell, um, follow me on Instagram for it. Check out my account if you guys really miss me. I think it's I think it's too bright. Can you see it better? Yeah, I think you can see it better on time. So, yeah, check out my Instagram account and you can actually tell by when I was doing some more work I had to do from it. And, yeah. And also, just so you know about it, it's something about I was kind of busy on there doing some personal work I had to do. And also, before you might understand, you might be wondering why I was wearing this. Well, you might take a look at this. I finally graduated. You might understand I was 18 years old right now, and technically, I was wearing this. So, yeah, I'm finally a grad. I finally a graduate. Yeah, sorry. I finally graduated. I actually finally got my diploma, and you might understand. My diploma is actually where I think it's like a certificate of achievement because technically it's something how I was doing well from school and I did an extra job for it for all that hard work I do. And even since I graduated, woo, yeah, uh, my schoolwork days were officially over right now. But until Project Life came, I was actually an intern and I was kind of busy right there volunteering for my jobs I had to do because I was actually volunteer at Home Buys and now I volunteer at Mihara Food Collector because originally, if you might understand, I used to volunteer at the Mihara Food Collector since my work here is done at Ohio for 2 months and I finally got paid. And if you're pretty sure, of course, uh, I got only for a year at Project Life as an intern, and I might have like another year for it. Not like another year, but like I had another year at another program, which is kind of like Project Life, but it's different. It's Project Search. I had to go there because it's not a program that I had to work there. Um, I got two programs for it because I'm almost getting finished with I'm getting closer at Project Light to be done for a year, and I might be going to Project Search for a year. And I might be applying for on for our art college I had to go because I was gonna be on FAFSA, and I just actually I just kind of feel like that because me as an artist, you can actually tell about how I did with this work I do, and you might understand everything I have with this work, I actually do it all the time because I work there as an artist. But even like that, for my whole decision, I was about to start selling my digital art. Well, not digital art, but like, well, technically, I was about to sell my art online, but not that. But I'm talking about like if I was doing digital art online. So I was actually thinking about it when I'm actually selling my digital art online because even though I'm taking a course, because I actually wanted to start doing it to create my whole business thing that I just do as an artist. And you might understand, I might create everything I have to do it on digital, and when I had to sell online, you might understand, I had to start doing it on E-Straight for it. And when I had to go onto E-Straight, I was about to start selling it online first, and then I might get onto NFT Go. It's just something I actually do because thanks to my teacher back then. And hold on a sec. Yeah, sorry, I was about to put my cap and gown on there, to put it back up. So, anyways, yeah, I was about to start selling my art online that I had to do it digitally, and I actually wanted to start everything I actually had to do, and it's just my decision I had to do this for it because even like self being an artist is consider stuff like that as a real job that I had to do. I had to make money, of course, with that as an artist. And also, even when I'm doing something, of course, I was on my Special Olympics. I had to do this. I was on my Special Olympics basketball game that I actually had to do. Um, I got two games done, and when everything I actually had to do, I actually had to start start transitioning, of course, as an adult I had to do because since I'm now at the age of 18, I'm not even sure how if anything for it because um it is something I actually had to notice about start doing the things I actually had to do because well it's something I had to do it because it's something I actually had to do it because I was actually planning for my future to do it because I was actually trying to start planning my future. And also of course um and that was actually why I left. Also, I forgot. I actually went to Myrtle Beach. I actually go there on 2021. I actually visited there on South Carolina. It was a lot of fun to actually go there. Also, I was afraid of the airplane. Yeah, it was kind of cool, of course, when I went to Myrtle Beach. Anything with that, it was kind of cool that I actually enjoying going there. And also, of course, one reason I was actually started doing a video for it at the end of this year, um, I might have to start doing my decision about with anything for 2022 because I might be actually talking about some of the best and one of the worst films I ever seen from 2022 because some moments I keep noticing about what's going on in 2022. I know about anything about what happened because I remember about what happened from that Oscar swap. I remember about what happened from Russia Ukraine war. I remember about what's going to Elon Musk might be stepping down as the CEO of Twitter. Also, I think I heard about with uh why am I always forgetting? Um I think that I think Lightyear actually flopped at the box office since the main stories of Gru actually start being it. And also finally, yeah, that Rob Amage school shooting, it was so messed up. I actually feel sorry for their loss. We already know, we already live in a world that's cruelty and even how I'm seeing the bias since we have war, we have rape, we have like I sort of like said the R word rape. Uh Also we have like mental illness. We have like violence. That's everything. It's just we live in a cruel world about what happened because I've seen Russia actually invade Ukraine, and I actually know this is it is so messed up for it. Um. So, and as I actually had to start saying for everything, I'm actually about to start noticing about the list of one of the best and worst films I'm seeing it from everything. Not gonna know about it because I'm doing like animated films. I actually had to do it. Well, technically, I might do some of them. I'm not even sure, of course. So, anyways, anyways, here comes the list of the worst films we actually have for 2022. So, let's actually check on the list. So, for number one, we have like Shattered. Um, I think I think Shattered. So, I think Shattered is actually a thriller film that actually kind of looks like it's in the veins of Fatal Attraction and Basic Instinction. And technically, the worst films I know about it from Sharon is I know it's just like I see everything. We have like bad writing, bad acting, and also bad performance. I seen about how Sharon did not go so well for it because technically the one fact about Sharon is that I think Sharon is where um the worst thing I know about Sharon is that we have like with this. I think Sharon. I think the first thing they have is actually where it seems to be with a random attack and also ends up with a broken shower with a wink in the leg. And the one thing about it did not go too well for it is that it's just strange that everything we know about is that the film is just technically weak where it's worrying. Like, it's just telling this story about when Chris is actually seems to be getting attacked, and also they end up with a broken shower because technically the title was called Sharon. And the one thing I'm noticing about it is that it doesn't seem like it's trying to do it well for it to its own with its own cast with its co-stars. The co-stars is actually stars I forget. This the film stars like Karen Morgan and he actually reprises role as Chris, who is a divorced um super wealthy Tech Morgan, who is in love with a stranger who is kind of hot in a grocery store. And I kind of think the plot itself for its writing was absolutely weak. And technically, it's too weak how it's just telling the story of this girl who is sexy and technically wanted to swallow the guy alive, which is named Chris. And technically, this one seemed like that a thriller film that shows a sexy woman who kills a guy who wanted to be dead. Not only too much, but not the best thing. So for our next film, we have like the 355, and it was actually directed by. It was written, produced, and directed by Simon Kinberg. And with Simon Kinberg, the film he actually did is actually some of the films he made, such as like X Men. I think it's one of the X Men films he did, and the story follows The 355 above the level of genetic. No, no, hold on. Okay, there's a part. Sorry, my eyes are just getting too. My eyes are seem like they were losing my sight for it. I can't see anything like the lights too bright. So let me just. All right, let me see. Um, the 355 follows a no nonsense CIA agent who has to team up with female spies from around the globe to stop a soft outdoing dis, de, description. My God, the decryption drive capable of hacking any system on Earth from falling into the wrong hands. Ah, so so this film, actually tells a story of female spies who's all around the globe and causing from a hacking system around Earth and falling into the wrong hands from description, decryption, decryption. I mean, to most of the point, that's just a generic uh plot that actually fills with Jessica Jessica Chastain. Um, it feels generic with newer films that kind of feel like the premise itself that it's actually technically tells its story from well coming from my God. My bad that I'm actually sorry, this is my problem when I've talked so much. Uh, so it's weird that I'm noticing that a film that features with a female ambiguous spy with a so the film features this female group of spies and they were trying to know us about from the source of description from the CIA. And it's strange that this is an odd thing about it because one reason it did not go too well is because of its poor dialogue. Because with its performance, their dialogue it's just too weak, and I'm not even sure how it's not trying to do it well because their acting is just um so generic. And it's just like I know how generic it is. Not that I couldn't do anything how it's trying, and it's not how it's trying to be as well. How it's not, because technically that's just not how I'm seeing it before. Because I've seen generic stuff that's happening around different movies, and I know the dialogue don't sound right because I seen how the dialogue is not trying so much because uh the dialogue I'm noticing about it is that um it's not good enough how it's trying because I see movies that have weak dialogue like from The Room and also with the Emoji Movie, and also it has to do with um technically with the bad guys. It's not like it's weak. There are some good moments that had good dialogue, but the writing is too weak. How it's trying to do with its dialogue. Like the one thing I'm noticing from the back guy saying, "So long, suckers, never." And some of the pun things, it's not that amazed for it. Well, there's something that I could be funny for most, and it's not how it's trying to do. But the 355 is not good enough how it's trying to have good dialogue, good writing, everything. It's not that it's trying to do anything, because that's why I know somebody when I look it up. Not that it's trying to do anything for 2022. So, for our next film that's technically the worst, um, I think some of the worst films we've seen from 2022. I think we got Shower. I think we got the 355. Let's move on to see how many movies we're going so much. So, our next one we have something that's only from everything from anime films. So, our next film that's actually technically was the worst. I think it has to be with The Adventures of Buck Wild, which is actually from Ice Age. So, my reaction, I know it's about it. You might know what's my reaction of the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. Well, it ruined the franchise. And one of the reasons about it with the story's terrible, the characters are not great, which is actually Crash and A. The animation, it looked like it's from a television show. It should have been a television show instead, because technically it used to be since they decided to do a feature film. And also the jokes were not that funny either. And the disappearance was scrapped. Even since from a year ago from Blue Sky Studios, after its closure, it's just, I know it's about everything a while since Blue Sky Studios shut down. But thanks a lot to Bob Chadwick from well, thanks a lot to Bob Chadwick from Disney as the CEO. Things did not go too well, despite how it's trying to look more like it's a mess. Everything I'm seeing it wasn't that great. It's on the list from Sharon, the 355, and now it's on the list. This is something I noticed how people were fed up with the Ice Age sequels. And this is not how I'm seeing it before everything. It's not how I'm seeing it. Everything did not go too well from it. It's always the worst. Always the worst. Yeah. Everything I seen that from the Ice Stage series. And Blue Sky. So, our next one we have from number 2. Firestar. I noticed about with Firestar, the original one actually was in theaters back then in 1984. And to Blumhouse and Universal Pictures, they were technically, let me explain about it. Technically, the film tells the story of kindly. The film tells the story of the parents dealing with their 10-year-old daughter, who kindly result of the evil government experimentation has the ability to start fires with her mind. And the one thing I don't know about with the remake of it, um, here's the reason about what's wrong with Firestarter. Technically, I know since the critics literally panned it actually Barry, one of the critics actually said that Firestarter trips over that low bar and timbers towards the bottom of the long list of Stephen King's adaptations. They literally panned Barry because of that remake, because the um if you can actually understand by okay, so the entire remake is a cringy start of the original. And technically, people just starting to have some issues on your Rotten Tomatoes, sorry, because it had 13% of it, of its score. And you can actually tell it really did not go too well with that to Stephen King's whole, well, it's all adaptations. Because ever since we know, since the original did well, the remake it didn't go too well because it's just like I know it's about what's going on because it has to do with its dialogue, it has to do with its characters, it has to do with its performance. Not that it went to anything how it tried. And it failed. So for number one of one of the worst, here are some of them that really did not go too well for it. Well, I think it has to do with this one film. This one film that I literally do not, well, impressed with this. I was really disappointed with this. What I'm talking about? Hotel Transylvania Transformania. And even you might understand the fourth and final sequel of that to the franchise, it's no finale. The character Johnny is so interrupted, and you can tell he is so irritating how the way how he act, because you can tell he act like irritating like okay, so if you might be explaining about this, Johnny is actually one of the most, well, not the most, but one of the worst characters we've seen everywhere we know is on the list. And you're pretty sure he was like irritating. He was just so annoying. He's just acting too optimistic. You can tell about how the way he can't control, because the way how he act like a freaking man child. And the way I'm seeing it before in that fourth film, it's there we have like Dracula, we have this guy over here. Well, it's not like Dracula. The first film tells the story of Mavis. The second one had to tell the story of Dennis. And also the third one, it's actually tells the story of Dracula. And why we got this bullshit? Johnny. He's our main character in the fourth film. And we're in the franchise. Well, technically, I did enjoy with the two Hotel Transylvania films back then. I kind of remember everything since it came out on 2012 when I was about like 8 years old when the first one showed up. I never saw all of them in theaters. Never saw a single one of them. I never saw all of them when I was a child. But when the fourth one came, it was disappointing. Well, to its animation, I think he did good. I think it took it too far because it looked like a Nickelodeon. It looked like a Nickelodeon TV special instead. It don't look more like a feature film itself for it. The characters, some of them are perfect, but some of them are just too weak. And with its story, after one experiment, Johnny turns into a monster and everyone else becomes human. Now it has to be seen whether they will be able to reverse this experiment. Technically, I don't think it's no finale with it because it's just wanted to make like the opposite because in the first we had Johnny over here because monsters are afraid of humans, and then our second film um we have Dracula become a grandfather when he actually had a grandson turn into a vampire. In the third film, Dracula is in love with the villain. And also a monster catcher. None of they couldn't do anything. And then the fourth one, the reverse. Human turns to monster. Monster turns to humans. It is no finale at all. And also, I actually say kudos to Brian, I forget, Brian Doll. I actually know, kudos to him, Brian Doll, who do his performance on to Dracula. But since Brian Doll and Brian Bell, I actually know they did a good job of their performance. But even since Adam Sandler and Kevin James weren't appear in the final sequel, it wouldn't do anything for it since it's issue from it. But the good thing is, I'm actually noticed the Hotel Transylvania franchise is way over. Well, I'm actually sad that it's actually over, but I was happy it was about to be over since the fourth one ruined me. And for some reason, I actually know about the future of Sony Pictures animations going on because I heard they're doing with Spider-Verse 2 and 3, and now I heard they're doing like adult animated works in there for their future because I'm excited to see this one film I'm excited is actually fixed. And technically, if you pretty sure why I said it, yes, Sony Pictures Animation is making adult movies. Why about now? And yes, it's really happening. Sony Pictures Animation is doing adult films right now. And I'm not that joking. The president of Sony Animation literally stated about it. You might be explaining about it. It's something about what's going on, because yeah, everything about it. I'm just waiting until when the Spider-Verse sequel might be coming. I am very excited for this. And that's one of my worst films of course. And that's one of the worst films of 2022. So that's done already. I got like Shattered. I got like the 355. I got like the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. And I actually got like Firestarter, and also I got with Hotel Transylvania. So let's go on to the best list. So I'm not really sure. We're on New Year's Eve. This is starting to happen on time. So let's see what's going on the best list. So technically, I'll be right back for a second. Alright, now we're back. So, yep. let's go off with the best films we have for 2022. So, let's see what you got for 2022 for on the best list. So, for the best list we have is actually the best list we got is actually so I'm starting off with Black Adam. So to Black Adam, nearly 5,000 years after he was just bestowed with the almighty powers of the Egyptian gods and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is free from his earthly toll, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world. No, actually, no. I feel bad about it since it got flopped, and I just feel bad that we got no Man of Steel 3 after since it did not go too well for it because the box office it just fell too much since it economy lost like tons of money. And actually, what I forget what Black Adam lost. Hold on a sec. So it lose like $50 million to $100 million. So it literally lost like to 50 to $100 million from its record, from its box office record, and um, it is just sad. I didn't even realize it was flopped. Because even since I know that this is from DC, even I know this is from The Rock, which is Dwayne Johnson, I actually feel bad about it since it got flopped because there's no Man of Steel sequel. And even they were rebooting Batman. I actually know since the Joker movie came back in 2019. And it's just something I know how I know. It's just something how I knows about how it did well for its performance. It did well. The performance did well, and even since I knows about it since the dialogue, I actually know the dialogue was doing well, and the effects are sick. I actually know it did well with its effects, and Dwayne Johnson do it well. It is sick. I can actually tell his performance did it well. And I heard this film is directed by Jamie Content Siena. And the wires are Zeteki Rory Hands, and also it looked like it stars while Black Adam himself, Mr. Johnson, with Eldis Walsh and Pierce Brosnan. And yeah, I actually know. I actually tell it did well, but I actually know since it was like a ton of money, like $50 million to $100 that it was on its cost. It's not the luckiest day how I see to 2022 since it failed. It's difficult since it never do it well exactly. But I'm not even sure. I don't know what's in store for the future of DC. Not that it couldn't do anything about it since they lost a film that cost, 50 to $100 million. And also about it did well for its acting, the action sequence. Everything I know, it did well for it. Everything since ever since it did not go too well with different writing. Not that it tried too much how it did not go too well. It's difficult since everything I know about it, the writing, it failed that much since it tried. But although great performance, great action sequence, and great effects, they were fired. So, anyways, our next film, I'm literally actually talking about what's the best, The Adam Project, and I can tell The Adam Project that stars Ryan Reynolds, Mark Wolf and Zoe Saldana. It's this is something I know how the project was. Um, I was literally proud about how the guys did well for him, cause and also about that with the project, it was fantastic. I seen how the project did. Like the project, I was really impressed by it because I love how it's a sci-fi action comedy film, and also I like about how it's telling a story about how a kid who met his older self in the future. I was very impressed by with his story because I love how it's a time traveling story since this is telling a story about this kid named Aaron Reed. And technically, I know it's about since everything um I know it's about how uh I know it's about everything with this film since the film actually stars um yeah, I actually noticed about it because the film actually stars Ryan Reynolds, and then there's Mark Wahlberg, Zoe Saldana, and also of course Jennifer Garner. And I noticed that the characters, I know that the cast I noticed, there were actually Marvel characters that I seen. Ryan Reynolds play like Green Lantern and Deadpool, and Mark Wahlberg plays the Incredible Hulk. Zudana plays as Gamon from Guardians of the Galaxies, and also Jennifer Garner, who plays Electra, maybe it's Electra from Daredevil. So it's impressive about it since I love about it with its story, and I actually know if it's in theaters, it'll be a box office hit. I was very impressed about it with its emotional story, and I love it how I know it's about it since if they lose a if they lose a loved one who well not loved one, if they was like a loved one who's actually like could be your mom, could be your dad. Actually no, like okay, if they lose a loved one who actually is literally well let me say it. If they lose a loved one who's actually more care, jeez, oh my god, it scared me. Freaking firework. Hold on a sec. Sorry, this freaking firework scared the shit out of me. Just screw up about the best and worst films of this year. So, anyways, as I was saying, yeah, if they lose a loved one who is more caring, it could be your cousin, could be your mom, could be your dad, could be your friend, and could be like your uncle or your aunt. You know how I actually know about it. This story is emotional about it because I seen this kid who wants a father, and technically, ever since that his older self came in there to the past, when they might meet their dad again, it is impressive by it since they lost a loved one, and it's just something about it. And the kid I'm seeing there, I see he was being bullied. I know how I seen people with that because we live in a cool world that's kind of felt like that everything it went worse. I'm seeing that because there's bad people everywhere around the world. And I can tell there was like sick people in the world. They're like nasty. And I can tell there's just obnoxious. I actually know. It even since I actually got jumped as well when I was like at the age of 15. This happened like that. But the reason my brother-in-law took care of it. But as I noticed, the visual effects, the special effects, they were amazing. The dialogue, it did well. And the writing of it, yeah, it did well, but technically with Young Elm, he's probably one of the weakest that I'm currently having it. One of the weakest character I currently having it with anything about with that with that dialogue. Because the lines I'm seeing there on his dialogue, I noticed, I actually know the writing. It's just it was good, but it was kind of weak about it with the character 12-year-old Aaron. But technically, this film, I am very impressed with Netflix, by which if it was in theaters. But technically, since it was in development hell for years, after we know that Netflix acquired it, it was impressive by it since they found a right studio to acquire the film for it. And it's just something about it, because kudos, of course, to Skydance, kudos to 12 21 Labs Entertainment and Netflix, and kudos to the cast and the production crew and the director. I forget, Sean Levy. And yeah, I actually tell the film was fantastic. If I was side driving, that'd be so cool for it, and that would be amazing for it if I had to notice everything I noticed about it, anything about it. I wish I can time travel back wherever I actually noticed about it back in my days. But technically, not in my days. I can time travel wherever I actually want to go to any place I want to go. Every century, every decade, every year, every month, every week, every day. Not that I wouldn't do anything. Man, I wish I was time traveling for the best. Too much with it. Okay, so our next one that could be, well, the best. So our next film we had something, of course, for the best is actually this film that Jordan Peele wrote and directed. It was called Nope. And I'm not joking. That's what the title says. Nope. That's what it says. And I'm not joking. That's a real title. It says Nope. So, Nope. It tells the story of the resident of a lonely gut in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. Um, I'm just noticing about it with this film. So I think I noticed about it because, um, I think it's telling a story about like a alien invasion that they were literally discovered for it since a UFO that was up here above the sky, and technically it looked like there was something they noticed by it, like it's some kind of like like a flying object. Like it's kind of strange that they were doing a film that they're making until there was some strange object that was flying on top of above the sky, and technically it looked like that. Cause technically, it looked like that someone. Okay, so it looked like someone kind of sees this object that was flying, and it came out of nowhere. And I noticed about how this is a sci-fi film because we already got with Black Adam, we already got with the Project, and now we got Nope. Three of them are science fiction films. But it's strange I noticing that this is something how I noticing that, well, instead that this is a superhero film, instead that this is like an action comedy film, this one is a horror film. And technically, since Jordan Peele went and directed it, it is sort of praised. Like the performance, the themes, the apparition, and even like that, the musical score, the visuals, and also the filmmaking, cinematography did it well. And also for the beginning, if you never saw Nope, I might have to spoil it. There was a chimpanzee attacking in that filmmaking episode at the balloon pop and start attacking the crew and the cast members. and tell them after it attacked them. Well, technically to the chimpanzee himself, they fatally shot the chimp to death. They fatally shot him to death. Yeah. And I think it has to do about what happened to Chandler and Nash about that chimp attack happened after her face was whipped off. Yeah, that's messed up. So, yeah, that's a spoiler. If you never saw Nope, well, I actually spoiled it away. I know you guys are I know you guys are getting really pissed off at me that I actually spoiled the film. So, yeah, and actually tell the the ambition, the performance, the filmmaking did well. It was fantastic. And I actually tell to join Pill, I actually know somebody with that was concept with this alien invasion that was up here above the sky since they were doing a film. But technically, it is something of what they're doing it because it was more like a Western film. But technically, to join Pill, yeah, I was really impressed about how he did with that for its writing and everything I seen. And so the cast they did. Okay, so for our next film that's gonna be on the best list, I actually knows about it since the live action films were pretty good since both of them are science fiction films. But to the next ones, we're doing, we let's move on to animation. So our next one we have is actually our next one we have is Turning Red. So Turning Red, the plot centers on a 13-year-old Chinese Canadian girl who, thanks to a family curse, turns into a wet parent when she's having a strong emotion. So I think what I'm noticing about it, this film has talk about with puberty. So I think about that since it is talk about a film about puberty, when you actually have some deals up that to your well to anything about it from your hormones that you're starting to go through a change. Because this is telling a story, this is actually a coming age film. Um it's strange that this is something about it since it's telling the story of a 13-year-old who was going through a change when she was now 13. She was getting older a while because she's now an adolescent. But even to me, I'm actually an adolescent too. I was going to do a change too because when I was a pre-teenager, I was going through a change a while when I turned 10 because I seemed like I was acting way different about how the way I act. But technically, I still act more like as like a child still. But even when I was going through there to my adolescent days, it's just something about it with anything but that to my hormone change. But with this film, I can see it gets a backlash because parents were complaining about it that it's acting way too mature to children. But they don't understand that this film is only for pre-teenagers and teenagers only. Because I'm actually still a teenager still because I am 18. But it doesn't count that this is the end of my teen life. Because technically, I'm still a teenager or what still. But even with the film itself, this is talk about like if you're having like it's okay. So this film's talk about like boy band crushes that you're in love about, of course, to a a boy gang who are actually in a band who is actually who is actually okay. So, anyways, as I was saying, this film is talking. Okay, this film's actually talk about if anything you're in love with a boy band, if you're in crush with one of the well, of one of the group that you were kind of in love with, because this is telling a story about with a 13-year-old girl, and she's in love with that boy band. Was called 14. No, I think it's Four Town. Four Town, I mean. My bad. So, Four Town. But even though, of course, she is going through a change with that since she's not a teenager, but her mom, it's just the way how she's more strict. She's acting more like as a Karen. It's just something about it. Since people are typing in the comic section, they keep saying that her mom's actually a Karen. It's just everything I know, everything we know is that everything we think, they act like selfish people who are ignorant that you know about it. And I actually think about it since everything I notice about it when happens like that, if anything on one time with it with a mother and daughter relationship, I seen it happen like that so much like that. Every time I notice about it since this has to do with that with well, uh, this actually has to do with that to your kids who is actually a daughter. Because if a girl is actually arguing to her mom who is an adolescent, you know I seen it. It happened like that so much, but not like not more like as a okay. So let me explain this. This happened like that so much like that when I was having some issues with my dad as a father son time, because this always happened like that every time like that since kids coming grow up like that as teenagers. They have some issues like that to their parents because every time I actually have it, that's some issues. And for some reason, I notice about everything from everything I notice because this is telling the story about it since since you're at that age when you were becoming really older, when you were starting to feel like you're going through a change that you're growing up. That's just something about it when you're becoming a teenager. Because every time I noticed back when I was in middle school, I have a girlfriend, but even on one time I watched soon, um, I was going to do something else about it since I keep having some problems about everything due to my hormones since I was changing. And for some reason, um, even since 7 years later, I was going through a change too. I wanted to be single, and that's why I actually am. I just want to be as a person who want to be single. That's what I'm noticing about it since this film is telling a story about a girl who transformed into a red panda. And I know about it. This is from director, well, I actually know. What's the director's name? Domishi. So, I think I remember when Domishi directed, Bad, that short film that coming to the story of a dumpling comes to life. And I noticed about it. I seen that story when after I went to go see Incredibles 2. And this might be her directorial debut on feature film, which is Turning Red. And also, one thing I noticed about it, I was really impressed with the animation. It looked like Japanese animation. Because ever since I seen how Pixar used to do this nowadays, their animation style, it looked different. It looked nothing like seeing what Pixar doing nowadays. Also, what I am excited about it, because since Luca Soul finally changed about with Pixar's future, this is something that it becomes different that Pixar is becoming. A different studio. Like, I heard they're working on of a TV show they're coming up, what's called Win or Lose on Disney Plus, and the animation looks way different, and their newer films are coming up, which is actually Ariel, Elemental, and also that Inside Out sequel. And it's just, I noticed about that since I was really hyped for with these sequels, but not with sequels, but like their IPs. It's just something when their IPs were ready to come. This is something that I am literally ready for anything that's going on for well to what's going on with their future. But even like that, goes to Nomishi for this film. I can tell about that to her story where she had the idea with turning red. And this is impressed about with its story. This is really amazing for it. So now, okay, so I got, I think I got with Black Elm. I got with the Project, and I got with Nope, and then I got with Turning Red. So the only two best films that's given on the list are the number one. I think I'm counting with three. The best three films that were counted on the list on number one are The Bad Guys, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Pinocchio. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. So I'm going with The Bad Guys first. So The Bad Guys. A pack of anthropomorphic animal thieves looking to pull off a heist. So this is something about it that if you take a look of, if you use Ocean 11, Reservoir of Dogs, and Tarantino, what have you mix it with? Despicable Me, Hotel Transylvania, and what am I forgetting? Toy Story. Yeah, mix it all together. Or maybe if let's mix it something better. What if you use Utopia with Ocean 11, with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, mixing them all together, and boom, The Bad Guys. So yeah, The Bad Guys. I was very impressed by it because the one thing I've noticed about with The Bad Guys itself, I was impressed about um well with its I was really impressed, of course, with its characters, because the characters I'm noticing I was really interested in is something about it. One of the characters that is one of my favorites is Mr. Wolf. I am not attracted to the wolf, but that main character was literally amazing. Well, really is really hilarious, because something about that with its description himself. I seen what Wolf is. He used to be more scruffy from the book series, but now he's more like a smooth character. Because the way he's more like a comedy character, that he's sort of different from the books. He used to be scruffy, but now he's way different how he was with that from the books, because he's acting more like a calm character. He's more like a smooth and calm character he is, because it's strange about it, since this is something I've noticed about it since this wolf guy is actually hilarious, and you can tell by it with anything. And the dialogue was amazing. But there were some weakest moments I'm having in, because when they're in the gala, and technically, it's strange that the lines I'm seeing it don't match it right. And Also, of course, one of my favorite characters is actually that piranha guy. The way I've noticed him, he's more like a feisty person. He acts crazy. He acts more like he's wanting to jump somebody. And the way I'm seeing that with the lines, it is so hilarious to um, Anthony Meows. Anthony eats animals. And I actually pretty sure Sam Rockwell and Anthony Animals were really amazing with that too. Their own performance on there to their dialogue. And even with um even I noticed about that, of course, the cast did wonderful. Zazie Beetz, Louis Smith, Alex Borstein, there's like Sam Rockwell, Craig Robertson, Aquafina, Mark Mamet, Anthony Animals, and also even I noticed about it because you know how they were great with that to its performance because it is really really good. And I know that the weakest, of course, because the lines are just sort of not that good enough, and the jokes are way more funnier than I see with that to the characters. But some of the jokes are kind of weak. Not that it couldn't do anything for it, because they're just kind of weak. But technically, it is sort of like that as a family film, but not that it couldn't do anything. But also, by one thing I'm worried about, one thing that I kind of like this film to put on number one is that I was impressed with its animation. Because similar to what Turning Red did, this one looks represented Japanese animation too. Because this is trying to look more like Lupin the Third, and it is trying to use that replicated to its style. It was amazing for it how it did to it. Because director Pierre Paffel, this is why I'm noticing by how he did well to his performance. Well, not to his performance, but his directorial debut. It's something I noticed about it since he did directed this animated short called Bilby, which is supposed to be a feature film called Lyricans as a musical, but too bad it got scrapped because some unknown reasons because of the the C well technically the heads of NBC Universal who weirdly decided to pick three because they decided to pick three instead of four because you can tell the West, you guys are getting really frustrated. They got with Pitch Perfect, they got with technically Illumination Sync. I know you guys are mad, of course, with Illumination, but don't get too mad about it because it's just a studio. Let them be themselves for them. If I mean the number three that you guys are getting really frustrated, DreamWorks Trolls. Yeah, DreamWorks freaking Trolls. Yeah, so that's something I know how Billy was since it used to be a musical film until it was a short film instead because it's just strange um, since it got scrapped for no reasons. It's strange I know since since well since this film did not go to well in production because of that, because since Tim Minchin had no reasons of course with this since he's depressed since the film was canceled. But yeah, I wish it was revived. Even I know since it is a short film that it was revived, but it would have been perfect as a musical. And I can tell people are impressed with it since the concept was more amazed for it. And this is a doozy as it gets out as a musical. This is nowhere with the fireworks. One scares the flipping shit out of me. So anyways, yeah. But anyways with it, I was impressed with the bad guys. The animation. Even I noticed about it since Pierre Parfels with his inspiration with French animation and Japanese animation because he is like from France. Even I noticed him with the bad guys, the animation, I was impressed that they using some like CG animation with 2D hand-drawn animation that they use it for effects. And the fact I noticed about it with its looking at itself, the animation, it looked like it's cell shaded. Like, the characters are looking almost to look more hand-drawing. Like I seen when DreamWorks Animation used to do hand-drawn animation nowadays, because they did it with the Prince of Egypt, the Road to Other Wild, Spirit Stallion of Samurai and Sinbad Legends of the Seven Seas. And they did it with that short film called Bird Karma, which is William Salazar actually directed it. But even I noticed about it, there was this canceled film, Me and My Shao, which is features this hand drawn animated Shao, and actually, of course, I know about how the Shao person was hand drawn because I didn't realize this film features hand drawn animation. Because it's strange that the film it kind of features hand drawn animation because the world is computer animated, but the Shao world is hand drawing. Everything I noticed about it because the world's computer animated, the Shao world's hand drawn animated. It was impressive. But now they're bringing back that old technique they used to make back in their days. But now, it's time I'm noticing since the bad guys came, the animation was really impressive with its 2D work for it. Because everything I seen with that 2D animation, the 2D effects were amazing. Even I noticed about it since this is something about it with its animation, this is impressive about it with how it looks. Kudos to the cast, kudos to the production crew, and kudos to the director, and even of course kudos to DreamWorks Animation. And speaking of DreamWorks Animation, I got another film that's after the bad guys. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The adventure sees Puss down to just one life after his 8 previous deaths and eventually set out on a mission to try to restore his lost lives. And, man, it has been like 11 years. I really missed the entire franchise of Shrek. This is something I'm really impressed with it since both of these two films, I thought they were going to be bad for once, but now I didn't realize they were impressive. Because even since I've been waiting for the sequel to come for 11 years, I saw the first Puss in Boots way back when I was like 7 years old. This is impressive by its predecessor. And I know it's a buy a long time for it because I've seen the entire cast, Antonio Banderas, Simon Halleck, and they were returned for the main cast. And even like that, this is impressive that the entire franchise is back. And even when I'm noticing about how I know the dialogue was really great, but the character I'm noticing, Puss act really different the way how he act. He act more like a well, technically, but Puss act more like as a uh he act more like as a well technically hold on a sec, I think I don't know what Puss act like. I think Puss act more like a high functional well technically he act more like a high functional cat because the way how I notice about it, he act more like as a rock star character. But the way I noticed about how he used to be, he act more like as a but technically of course, he act more like as a very typical uh hold on a sec. I think I noticed about it. So sorry about my stuttering. So similar what Puss in Boots used to act like, um, similar like how Mr. Wolf act when he used to be more squaffy, since he's more like a calm smooth wolf. To Puss, he act more like a calm W style, how he used to been back when he was actually in the Shrek films. But even since when when ever since when he but ever since when he returned, he act more like a different description of himself. That he's act more like a high functional cat himself. because technically the way how he act, uh, this is something about why he act. He act more calmly. He act more like as a manly person himself. But now he act way different. Like now he's acting more like a strange party animal kitty he is. Well, not kid, but more like a cat he is. But it's just something about the way I seen about his description. That's just something about what's strange about him. And even like that, of course, I never saw the second Puss in Boots sequel, but I'm about to see it soon if I review it. It couldn't do anything. I never review Wow Breaks the Internet. Maybe I had to do it. If I had to review it, I might have to think about it. Because I shouldn't forgot to review it. And also about that itself, I noticed about that since Salma Hayek returned as Kitty Saltpaws. It's noticeable about that Kitty act more like the same thing as like that from the first. And the thing about that to her, it's just noticeable about it since her description about it, more like a sneaky kitty she is, but it's just something annoying that she is sort of different like that. But technically about that, she's more like the same for that from the first. And also the new character, I kind of know the new character I seen that from The Last Wish, he's sort of more like a different, he's sort of more like a very usual Puss in Boots version of like with of Donkey. I forget Pedro. So Pedro, he's more like as like the annoying character that I literally ever seen him like there in The Last Wish. But not like as a normal, but not like he's like the annoying character. He's more like the weakest I've ever seen that from the Puss in Boots sequel. But I never saw the entire film, but I might have to notice about it. Even I noticed about it since Pedro was the new member of that in the film. It's just noticing about it since he's more like Sid from Ice Age. But he's more like about it since he's acting more like Donkey from Shrek. But you can tell they were just like annoying characters we see them. But even like knows about that a lot. It's strange I noticing since this is literally featuring about the dog himself like that. But technically, he's not more like as annoying, but he's sort of like more like the weakest of him in the sequel. You know also about that, I love about with its story. The story is really good since it's after with the fourth Shrek film, and also the first Puss in Boots. But I noticed about that since I seen the dialogue was doing well. And also about that, of course, this is impressive about it with its animation. That's the same style what they're doing with the bad guys. They using that Spider-Verse animation. And instead they trying to look cel-shaded. Now it look more like a painted look of a storybook. Now the characters are acting more strange. Talking with that, now the characters are acting way more different from them. Because back when I'm seeing with the Shrek films, they look more almost hyper realistic. But now in this one, this is using this Spider-Verse animation. And now it look way different that they use something they use. Like the 2D effects. That's the same thing what they're doing in the back guys. It was amazing what I see. And also with its frame rate, I was never expect a frame rate animation to happen that the characters are acting way too choppy. Like I seen it even with the first Puss in Boots trailer, because even when I see Puss even when I see when Puss is actually attacking the giant, it's just I never seen the animation moves really different. Like now he Now he moves like that he's hand drawn animated. Like it's just like noticing that he moves very hand drawing, and you can tell about that how he looks because he's painterly looking. He look movingly stop motionally look, and he move hand drawery look. It look amazing with its animation and with its effects. The characters are really great, but they're more like the weakest one. But even like that, it was impressive I seen about it because that's just something I knows about it since the dialogue sounds wonderful for him. But even I noticed about it with its dialogue, it was great. But I never saw the sequel in theaters. I might see it, I might have to think about it, but I might have to wait to see. But technically, it was really great. The soundtrack sound wonderful for it. I listened to some of the fewer ones, but never saw the entire film. I'm ready to see how I'm ready to see the sequel soon. If I review it, I might think. Maybe I might notice by it. Very sure. And finally, we end things off with our number one, Pinocchio. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. So, yeah, since $3 number one, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is the last one. So after all that for a year, we had three Pinocchios. We have some of them. One is actually had to do with a true story, which is from Russia for Lionsgate, and another one is a Disney remake. And technically, I saw everything. I freaking hate it. Like, this is literally bullshit. I never even like about with the remake itself. And then the final thing we have is the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I never watch it on Netflix, but I might give it a try. It looks it looks amazing with it. It's better than the other two ones. So let me just read its premise. So everyone knows the story of this wooden puppet who becomes a weird boy. Uh, but Guillermo del Toro, Pinocchio's offers a fresh take, but also reimagines the tale about the puppet carved by Geppetto. So this film was critically acclaimed. The stop motion animation was great. And also about that, the film stars Gregory Mann as the voice of Pinocchio, Evan McGregor as the narrative Cricket, it's Jiminy Cricket, and David Bowie as the entire wood carver Geppetto. And I actually tell they were wonderful. And Juan Pierman, John Tutorial, Finn Falhart, Kay Bachelet, and Tilda Swinton. And I can tell the cast did wonderful for me. That's why I consider it as the last one on number one. Because since Puss was the Last Wish, the bad guys were two on number one. Well, they're like Santa Cruz. Like the bad guys on the third place. Puss was the Last Wish is on the second place. But that one's much more better for it. And yeah, I can tell both of these two films are stylized. I could give it a try for it. But that is better for with the Pinocchio film. And yeah, it don't look like how it looks stylized with techniques altogether. And with anything about it, this is way different like that from the other two Pinocchio films. And I know it's about with anything drew from it because Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's version was much more better. It feels cleaner, it feels wonderful, and uh, it's perfect. And you can tell by it was perfect about how I seen with the other two Pinocchio films. But it's just like notice about it with anything. Pinocchio itself with the Guillermo del Toro's version is better. But even I noticed about it since we're everything I noticed about with the era itself, because animation is a medium but not a genre. And I know that people keep complaining that animation is like a kid's genre, but animation it's a medium. It's not a genre. And the one thing I noticed about how animation is, animation is just a medium. But even I noticed about it, we're in this era that's starting to feel like the animation is no longer as a genre. Because secondly, I heard Sony Pictures Animations doing adult animation as well. Like they're doing with Fix. And they're doing with their next film, Black Knight. And there's like Bubble, which is the guys who make Sausage Party. And this musical Demon Hunter film called K-pop Demon Hunters, which is technically like a PG-13 film, but Black Knight's kind of PG-13. But it's sort of what I'm noticing what I think, because this film is sort of more like a PG-13 style since it's battling demons, since this is telling the story of a K-pop group until they became demon hunters. Perfect I noticed about its premise, strange how I seen what the company's decision. And with Illumination, it's perfect I'm noticing when Illumination's having its own animation division, which is actually not geared toward for kids, but geared toward for adults. Because technically, it's actually an adult animation division, which is Moonlight, which is led by a guy named Mike Moon. And technically, with that, with the Moonlight label, this is something I'm really impressed with it because I'm excited to see their adult Illumination films because this is similar to what I'm seeing with Cartoon Network and Adult Swim did because Illumination is like Cartoon Network and Moonlight is like Adult Swim. It's just something I know. This could figure out that animation is a medium but no genre as for kids. This could do anything about it since people don't understand that animation is a medium but not a genre. But even anyways, with Guillermo del Toro's version of Pinocchio, it was fantastic. The cast did wonderful, and the stop motion animation, it was fantastic to see. Craftsmanship, it was perfect. I seen how they did. They did an excellent job for it with its stop motion animation craftsmanship. And yeah, that was all I have for the best and worst films of 2022. And I'd say there's few more of them that's gonna be that actually have to count for them. But I might actually, yeah, I know there's few more films that are coming counting from 2022 if I had to put it on the list. But technically, I think I actually put some of the fewer films I pick on the best and worst list. So that's why I actually dive into. So anyways, I see. Anyways, I'm back, everybody. I finally returned. Have a nice New Year's Eve. Get ready for 2023, everyone. I'm excited for this year to come. This is a happy new year for that. I'm ready for 2023 to come. So, happy New Year's, everyone. See you later, my YouTube fans.